earlier. Okay, there it is. Okay. Streaming key. All right, that's that one. Oh, fingers crossed that this works, you guys.
It'll take a little bit for it to come up on YouTube, and you have to push that go live in YouTube as well.
Okay.
It's like a 20-second delay or something, isn't there?
Yeah, it takes a bit. And that's where I screwed up. I was able to do live with Dodie the other day, and it came up. We are here today.
Love your shirt, Tony.
Sorry.
It was fading in and out. I turned the light higher so it doesn't fade in and out on me.
You need to be holding like a margarita or something.
I wish I had one. I should have.
All right, I'm clicking go live, but I don't think that puts us out there just yet.
No, it'll be on YouTube part of it that it says go live.
It says this meeting is being live streamed for me. Got it.
So we.
All right, I'm clicking go live. All right, let's see here. All right, I'm clicking go live. There we go. I think we're live now.
Perfect.
All right. Hi, guys. How is everybody today? We have another wonderful Tuesday Talks live scheduled with Tony, Kaz, and Laura. I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves in a minute, but we're super excited to be with you guys again. Everybody want to just tell where you're from and how everybody can find you? Tony, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm Tony Mowry from Ropes and Wings, and you can find me. All my social handles are Ropes and Wings, and the website is ropesandwings.com.
And I am Kaz from Journeying Soul Therapy, and you can find me at journeyingsoultherapy.com. I'm an SCHH practitioner based in Cambridge, UK. I'm mostly on YouTube and Telegram, but I'm also now on TikTok and Twitter.
Nice one, Kaz. How are you finding TikTok?
I love it.
I need to get down with the kids.
I'm loving it.
And my name's Laura Whitworth, and I am the founder of Soul Center Healing Hypnosis. And you can find out more about me at www.schhofficial.com.
Awesome.
And I'm Heather from Quantum Healing Within, and all of my handles across all of my pages are also Quantum Healing Within. How have you guys been? It's been a minute since we've done this. I think it's been about 6 or 7 weeks, hasn't it?
It's felt like ages.
Yeah.
It's
been
been
over 2
so
months.
busy.
Yeah.
I've missed you.
I know. I feel like, so for us, summertime is over, but I feel like for you guys, summertime really just kicked off with the kids being home.
Yeah.
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 It's bedlam in my house at the moment. Oh, just utter craziness. Because there's no structure there, because there's no school. So there's just kids running around everywhere and arguing, but it's all good. It's all wonderful, and the sun is shining.
My boys are getting on really well, actually. I think because they're a little bit older. They went out for lunch together today.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. They're like bros going out for lunch. That's all right. Bye.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And mine are just getting back to school. So it's nice because I feel like I've been in vacation mode this whole summer. It's really been hard to like focus and do the things that I needed to do. So now I don't have an excuse. They're back to school and I got to get back to it.
It takes a while though, Heather, to ease yourself back in.
I know. Tony, how about you? How's your summer been?
It's been crazy, super fast. I don't even know where it went to. You know, our kids are going back to school already, and you guys are getting out of school. It just don't make any sense. So it's just gone. The summer's just gone, but that's all right. I demand an upgrade if we're going to keep making time fly as fast as it is. because I can't keep up with it, how fast it's going.
It is going faster. What is that going to be like? Like, I can't even wrap my mind around what no time is, or not having linear time.
Mhm.
I wonder what does that look like?
Can't even imagine it.
I think it's just that you're so blissed out, just so blissed out, that you're probably not even aware of the passing of time.
Right.
You're probably just aware of the joy in every moment that you're in. So you probably just don't even realize that time's passing by.
Yeah.
I hope that's what it's like anyway.
I just want to know what that being in bliss state is like. Can we just have a little sprinkle of that these days?
I mean, I think we just don't even need to be anywhere for, like, time don't even matter. We just don't even need to be anywhere. There's no, no what's the word I'm looking for? No
Time constraints.
no time constraints, no responsibility that needs to get done now. So we just
How are we going to organize our Tuesday talks though?
Exactly. Oh my God, we won't even know when Tuesday is.
So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, how do all these beings that are outside of space and time, how do they know when to be somewhere?
we
Oh my
just
God.
They just
That's
all
a
show
mind
up.
bender.
Do it now.
we just wake up one day and let's go Tuesday talks, and we'll go
Yeah.
what is Tuesday? We don't even know what Tuesday is.
I love it. So
Funny.
I think one of the things that we were going to talk about today is conscious communities, and these communities that we see in the future. I know for me personally, this information has been coming up quite a bit in a lot of sessions. Lots of clients seem to be tapping into the ways that we're going to live in the future, how we're going to grow our own food, how we're going to come together in these communities, and how we're going to be able to heal ourselves in the future in a different way than we do now. Are you guys seeing that come up in your sessions a lot?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Always.
Yeah.
And they're the best sessions,
Yeah.
because then, you can really start to get a feel for where it is that we're going.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be so wonderful, and everybody is going to finally work together as a team. I can't wait for that, because I think that's been the hardest thing about being on Earth. It's never knowing where the land lies with a brand new person when you meet them. You're never quite sure. You kind of trying to read them, and I just get this feel that when we're in that higher vibration, we will all know each other's vibration, because we'll all vibrate the same way. So we'll all want to move in the same direction. And I just think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard for us to imagine with all the programming and stuff, how communities and things don't work. But we're getting a lot in the sessions about how communities, how everybody's coming together. We're seeing visions of it in sessions, and the technology is free technology. And
You had a great one that you posted just recently.
right.
I want to say it was a couple of sessions back, where she brought through some really interesting information.
Yeah, and she was blissed out in her house. It was just 2 years down the road.
Right.
And with the free energy, and it was just run by a little box out back, which contained some kind of magnets or something. I tried to get as much information as I could about it, and and she's just enjoying life just 2 years down the road with shoot, I think she even talked about, I can't remember now, but I think she even talked about flying cars or levitating cars to get around and travel. It was quite different than what we see in just 2 years down the road.
So I can't imagine. Oh, I'm sorry, Kaz, go ahead.
It's okay. I was just going to say that box technology and the flying cars came up in one that I heard recently too. So lots
crystals as well. Crystals are always in the future sessions, and we get our source of power through the crystals. So at some point, all of us guys that have got our houses littered with crystals, one of us is going to have a eureka moment and suddenly understand what it is that we have to do with all of these beautiful crystals that's going to help us power everything. And when that occurs, hopefully that launches us into this higher vibration. But I've definitely got enough crystals in my house to power a whole flipping universe, I think.
We'll just all come into your place if we need to for the high vibe. Blossom Goodchild, I know, Laura, you listened to her or have done a session with her. I like listening to her Galactic Federation channelings that she brings through. And she just did one where they were talking about the crystals being activated around the earth. The codes coming in because everything has its own coding and the crystals are sort of grouped together and they have their own codes. And at some point, they're going to be activated and almost connect with each other all over the world to send those frequencies or those vibrations.
Yeah,
that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Crystals are the future. And if you go into any of those sessions with clients, most of the spaceships are powered by some form of crystal. Crystals factor into everything. You know, the key points in civilizations as well, you know, the times of Atlantis and Lemuria. The power that was generated on Lemuria, the force field that stopped people from being able to get into Lemuria, was from the red crystals that were brought from another planet. And also, conversely, the crystals that caused all of the damage in Atlantis were also those same red crystals. So they're powerful things, but if they get in the wrong hands, you know, they can be used for detriment as well. So I really think crystals moving forward are an absolute clue for us, and they are tangible things that we can pick up and hold right now. You know, one day this crystal's going to tell me how I can use it to fly a spaceship. So fingers crossed.
So Dolores Cannon, sorry, she talked about the third wave being builders. Is that correct? Are they the builder wave?
So you're talking about the 3 waves of volunteers?
Yeah. The third wave are meant to be the builders, so
that build the new reality.
Yeah.
The new world.
And I'm assuming that's the younger generation now. Maybe they're going to be the ones having all these amazing ideas.
How do we unlock the power of the crystals? We're all fascinated by them, aren't we now? We're all drawn to them.
I've got a session with Heather next week. I'm going to ask.
Yes. How do we unlock the power?
Yeah, write that down.
I'm writing it down or I'll forget.
Well, we're already using crystals in everything. It's in every communication device. It's in every radio. It's in every timepiece. It's in this you know, backwoods technology of these computers. It's all there. The crystals, we're already using crystals, but we forgot how to use them. I wish I had an engineering mind, because I would be making something, because I want to get free energy here at the ranch so I could set up my places all over the ranch for people to come stay. I just don't know how that'll even work.
Well, we have them in our ears too. I dislodged one the other day, got really bad vertigo, to do a maneuver to get the crystal in my inner ear back in place again.
What?
Tell us more about that. Well, you have little tiny crystals in your inner ear, and I don't know what I'd done, but I'd dislodged one, and Laura, I couldn't move. I thought I was either going to be sick or pass out. So you can do this maneuver called the Epley maneuver, where you turn your head one way for a certain amount of time, and then the other way, and then one more way to pop it back in.
Oh my God.
I have heard of that maneuver. When you said it, I've heard of it.
How did it come out in the first place?
I don't know. It's like up in the middle of the night at 3:33 a.m. I remember, because it was 3:33, and I went to the bathroom and I felt fine. And at some point between 3:33 and when I got up at 7, it had dislodged. Anyway, sorry, I've gone a bit off topic. I was just
but I mean,
crystals are everywhere.
That's interesting, because I didn't know that there was little tiny crystals in the ear. I mean, you have your bones. They said the bones are there for the resonance and hearing, but it would only make sense that there's crystal. We're crystalline bodies. We're 80% water. We're an electrical system, not a mechanical. So those crystals are there working, sending electricity, getting in communication. So they're there.
Have you had more sort of spiritual downloads since that happened?
No.
You noticed any difference?
I know. I was wondering if it was happening because of the Lion's Gate, if that energy was
something's weird.
throwing you off.
Every year the Lionsgate does throw me off. Last year I had a trapped nerve in the back of my neck. The year before that I twisted my ankle.
Wow.
Do you think they're trying to get you to rest? Because you know that's been coming through, and it's like we've got to throw her into something or she's not going to rest. We're going to send her some upgrades.
Give me a rainy day. Give me a rainy day and I'll rest.
Don't make me feel like this, please.
Yeah.
Well, my wife was sick too over the Lion's Gate as well. I don't know what that was from or whatever. It's just released last night, sometime in the night, severe headache, and it just released for 2 days. The headache was, so something to it.
Yeah.
Crown pressure.
Expansion.
Did you have anything, Laura? Were you all good?
I'm so stressed at the moment in my life. I don't think I would even notice if I did. I'm walking around with my head hanging off, carrying on. Not that I can think of, but probably.
Do you guys do any? I said in my Telegram group, I said I feel like these big portal days that we know are coming, that have all this energy, and people are always saying, use them to manifest or use them for this or that. I feel like I never do anything on the day. Do you guys have any rituals or anything that you do? Are you like me?
Just
forget.
On the summer solstice, I always cleanse all of my crystals.
Okay.
On the summer solstice, that's the big one. I will never not take my crystals out on that day, and I'll take every single one. And it takes me sometimes half the day to get them all outside, and then I'll leave them out the whole night and then bring them in the next morning. Years ago, I used to meditate all the time. On the portals, but I'm normally too busy helping people. What about you guys?
That's what happened to me. I was too busy to even really do anything or think about it. I didn't get finished till midnight last night doing things. But so I haven't even thought about it.
I used to as well, but not anymore. I like to have a fire on the solstice. That's what I like to do. But the Lion's Gate, I was just trying to manifest that crystal back in place.
The solstice I do. I mean, we celebrate on the solstice. That usually happens around our anniversary week. So we're always celebrating, bringing in the summer solstice with our anniversary week. So that's about the only one that we really do anything for.
So moving back to what we were talking about with your client seeing maybe some changes in 2 years. Now, I can't imagine how it could be possible that we could have flying cars. I mean, I don't know if anybody's making those right now. So do you guys think that we're going to, are they?
They are.
Like,
you can buy one, 170 grand.
So
I read that
they're making them, but nobody can afford them pretty much, right?
Right.
How do we get from here to there? We have no idea time frames or when things are going to shift. So do you think that we move from one time space into another one where they already exist, or how do you see that happening?
I think that it's all about frequency, resonance, and vibration. And at the moment, there was a point in time where we were all seeds in the mud. We were all together, seeds in the mud. Then all of a sudden, the waves of light started coming in, and it woke our seeds up. Didn't wake the others, because they need more time in the soil. They need more time in density. So when these light waves have started coming in, those of us that are star seeds, awakened beings, our little seedlings have started to grow. And we're all up in the canopy now, looking down at everyone else. And to start off with, when you start growing, you think, oh, there's just me. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm just going to keep going anyway, because I think it leads somewhere. But when you get to a certain height, you look around and you can see that there's millions of little seedlings all over the place. And that's what we are. And coming together now in the communities that we're coming together in, eventually we're going one direction. They're staying down in that lower density. They've got no desire at this time to follow where we're going. And at a certain point, I believe that we will resonate so high and be such a dissonant frequency than the ones that haven't made the journey, that we will, as a collective, pop into our own vibratory band of resonance and being. That is ascension. It's us splitting off from the current joint collective consciousness and saying, no, we don't want to live like that. You can stay in the mud if you want, and there's no judgment there. That's entirely up to you. If you need more time for your seeds to break, fine. But we've already broken our seed and we're off, and we want to build something up here. So I think that ascension moment where everybody says, if you're in the third density, it feels like all the light left the world. Or if you go up to the fifth dimensional density, it feels like heaven. It's because there's no joint dissonant polarities of consciousness anymore. There's a very famous program called Red Dwarf in the UK. So there's probably only Kaz that will understand what I'm saying here. But there's so many episodes where they go to these moons called Psi moons. And whoever it is that lands on the Psi moon, the moon then morphs into the collective consciousness of the beings that have landed on the moon. So if a psychopath lands on the moon, it'll just be psychopath land. But you know, if you've got a psychopath and somebody really nice, then there's going to be a bit of psychopathic activity over here, but there'll be a nice petting zoo for goats over here, you know, and that's essentially Earth right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got a boatload of psychopaths doing all these crazy things, and then you've got a huge pool of really nice people in this joint consciousness. And because of where we are, that is polarizing to the point where we're going to pop into our own very distinct realities, because we don't want the same things anymore. And it's like two magnets pushing each other apart. Eventually, we won't be in the same space anymore. And that's how I see it.
And do you think there's just one? Because recently I heard someone talking about there might be more than one reality. There might be like a fourth density reality that where you experience the things like, you know, we hear Nasera, Gesera. I have no idea if those are real or not. But maybe those are experienced in the fourth density, but then those moving to the fifth density are going to experience more of that energetic. Have you heard that?
People will find themselves wherever they resonate.
Yeah.
So there will be some people that end up resonating higher than the fifth dimension as well, that will end up going even higher. Everything that you can think about and conceive with the inner vision will exist, because we will make it so, because we are the creators. So yeah, I do believe, part of me has always suspected the Jasara Nasara thing is just something else that the dark ones, shall we say,
right,
have put out. Because for me, that high vibrational reality, it won't involve money anymore. Money will just be abolished. For me anyway. I'm done with money. I just want to live in a reality where we just look after each other because we want to, because we love everybody. And I think when you're in a fifth dimensional space, that is exactly how you'll feel. But I do think that that's an absolute possibility, that there might be, if there's a massive group of people that believe in Jasara and Nasara, then that band of reality will be a lot unlocked and available when the split occurs. There might be every color of the rainbow in terms of, you know, existence, when that actual splitting off of the full collective consciousness as we know it now occurs. Very interesting.
For people that have ascended before us, we've heard lots of stories about people that have. Are they there with their flying cars waiting for us?
Those guys, that are already there. There'll be loads of people already there.
I just had a session where they saw a parallel life of a Mayan priest, where the Mayans had just, I mean, all the history says Mayans just disappeared from the history books, but the Mayan priest, all his people were packing up and moving, and they walked up the pyramid through a portal and you know just disappeared out of this dimension because they had raised their vibration so high that they were able to go into that next dimension, or that next, with a fifth dimension or whatever. And I even said, hopefully we'll see you soon. And they go, we're waiting for you to get here. So we are just,
Wow.
we increasing our vibration so much with what we're doing as hypnotherapists, and helping and elevating everybody, what everybody's doing. We're raising that vibration, bringing more light in, that we're just going to pop through, and all the lesser dense stuff is just going to fall out of our view, and we won't even see it anymore. And we'll be able to see the elementals, we'll be able to see the dragons again, we'll be able to see Sasquatch, what I found out in my last session with Laura there. And and they're all excited and waiting for us to get to that point. They know it's coming, and it's coming soon.
Mm.
They were celebrating, weren't
they
they,
were,
Tony?
yeah, they were celebrating.
I'm a
ready.
Sasquatch too, Tony. So maybe
So
we're
am I.
Sasquatches. Okay, so we're all together somewhere.
Oh, damn.
Yes.
Well, I
Are
need
you a
a.
Sasquatch?
I haven't
You'll
had
be a
that yet.
Sasquatch. You will.
Haven't had it.
You're gonna be one, whether you like it or not.
Maybe next week, Heather.
I love it.
I didn't get the sense that I was actually the Sasquatch, other than the fact that I was able to drop into that life of the Sasquatch. It's like I was able to see what they were doing. Just I didn't get the sense in the session that that was my fractal in that Sasquatch
just
laugh.
observing.
Like I was able to drop in to see what was going on, because that's why I found it so funny that I'm like in this body. Maybe, who knows? But of course, maybe it was a lifetime.
I think you were the Sasquatch, Tony.
I could be. I was a girl, though. I was a girl Sasquatch.
That's okay.
That's why he's
How it
struggling
works.
with it. That's why he's struggling
You've
with
been
it.
all things, all genders.
Okay, maybe she was a fighter too. I like being the fighter.
I struggled.
I'm a male. I'm a male Sasquatch.
Yeah, see?
I'm a boy.
Funny.
I struggled in a past life when it came in as a man, and it's like I couldn't allow myself to be a man in that life. I was fighting it in my mind, like that is not me. That is not me.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yes, it's strange.
Just like
I quite liked being a man.
Oh.
Ooh, Laura, what do you need to know something?
Were you good looking? Is that?
Oh yeah.
Were you a handsome man?
Always.
Oh, it is as a Sasquatch, yeah.
But I had a
all good
lifetime
looking.
where I was a jouster. And oh my God,
Wow.
I was swaggering in that lifetime. Swaggering into the pen, getting on my horse, looking at all the women.
Wow.
Getting my little jousting thingy. And I got speared. That's how I exited that lifetime. And I've actually got a birthmark on my ribs. Quite a significant one. It's faded as I've got older, but it's from that.
Yeah.
That's so
brilliant.
But I enjoyed being a man. Yeah. Good times.
Have you ever been to Warwick Castle? If you ever been to Warwick Castle, they have a jousting thing there.
Do they?
Yeah, you should take the kids. It's really good fun.
I've always been fascinated with that as well.
They have live shows.
It might be like going home.
Maybe. And my little girl as well, just talking about the birthmark thing, my little girl had a lifetime where she was eaten by a crocodile, and she vividly remembers it. She has terrible nightmares about it now. She's only 4. And she'll wake up and I'll say, "Was it the crocodile again, baby?" She'll say, "Yeah, it was so hot in those long grasses, mummy. It was so hot, and the pool was just there in the long grasses, and I had to go in it, and it got me again." And she has this, but her body is covered in really bright red birthmarks that are fading, but they are the crocodile bites.
Oh, that's terrible, though.
Yeah.
to have that reminder. So is
Yeah.
there not anything, because I know kids are so tuned in and they remember their past lives so easily.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you do to try to help her clear that energy, or is she just
Yeah.
trying to work that out in her dream state?
I talk her
Do you
through it as much
think?
as I can, and I try and make her
Yeah.
understand that we have many, many different experiences, and that lifetime, for whatever reason, she had signed up for that particular experience. And I try the best that I can to take her to places where she can look at them, and she's quite good now. She was petrified of them, absolutely petrified of them. She couldn't even watch one on TV. But I've desensitized her enough now
Oh,
because we talk about it a lot. And I think by talking about it a lot, and firstly having an awareness that this is a thing, that past lives are real,
yeah.
and that this recurring nightmare that she has is to do with the past life. I guess many parents would probably think, oh, she's just dreaming about monsters again, or
Mhm.
but she will talk about it so clearly. And she was a little boy in that lifetime.
Wow.
When my 13-year-old was 3, he said to me, "Mummy, I used to be a little girl and I died and came back
Yeah.
as a boy."
Yeah.
And I kind of asked him about it again later because I was a little bit freaked out at the time. I wish I could go back and ask more now, knowing what I know. And he said that he died in Hiroshima.
Wow, really?
And it's funny because he is absolutely obsessed with Japanese culture.
Yeah.
Obsessed. He wants to go live there.
That's
He
incredible.
loves
It's incredible,
everything.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so fascinating.
But I wish I
I
could go back and ask more because I really didn't get enough. I was
don't
kind of
know.
like, oh, that's good.
I don't know how people who don't believe can't piece it all together, because the evidence is all there. Very quickly you can ask people a few questions and you can work out, well, they've had a lifetime there, they've had a lifetime there. I mean, it's just so obvious. I was laughing today because we went round a farm this morning with the kids, and I am obsessed with llamas.
Oh, I love llamas.
I love llamas, but
Mhm.
I'm obsessed with camels as well.
Alpacas.
I think their faces, they're so beautiful
They are
and
beautiful.
so regal. And my oldest child is petrified of them. So I'm always stood there feeding the llamas and she's like behind me cowering. But I feel that that's come from my strong Egyptian
Mhm.
lifetimes, and many lifetimes that I've lived in the area of the world that has many camels and llamas, and and I always look at them and think, God, you're so beautiful. And it's like they know that I think that as well. It's like I can tell they know I think they're gorgeous.
I love that. Maybe they recognize you.
Oh, I don't know, but they spit at everybody else. So I walk up with my hand out and they'll eat out of my hand. And everyone's like, what's going on? But I just love them. They're so beautiful.
They feel your frequency.
Yeah, I think they can tell that I really love them.
Yeah.
Nini had a question there. Heather, one of your recent sessions, one of your clients was connecting with her guides, and when another entity or AI mimicked the feeling she would get when connecting with them. Let me read that again. Do you see
Yeah.
that, Kaz?
Yeah. So Janine, that's
She,
Janine's, and I wrote her question down because I saw it earlier.
she wanted, can we talk about discerning between the actual higher guidance and the entities in AI that mimic the energy? And that's really important too.
So like when you're trying to connect with your guidance, how to know. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
Well, I do it by I mean, it's what they say, how they're saying it. It's, if it's your higher guidance and the angelics, it's always in the best and highest good for the client and for anybody. And when it's that low vibrational talking that's going on, maybe a lot of swearing in it, or calling the client a dumbass, and or they're not, they're not. It's just you can just tell, I guess. You can feel it. And I keep asking questions about that just to clarify, to make sure that we are talking with the highest.
AI will often try and shut down the session as quick as possible as well. So they'll say something like, she's tired, she can't go on, or she can't do anymore, or they won't have the connection to the knowledge that you're trying to get, and they will feel off. Your intuition will tell you whether you've got the higher guidance or not, because they will just feel off, and they always show themselves. That can't help it. AI is going to show no emotion whatsoever. So that's going to be your indicator that there's no feeling of love. When you've got the true higher guidance, the true higher self, that absolute feeling of love always comes through, always. And just last week, I hypnotized Tony on a course for a variety of reasons, but we had to do a quick switcheroo, didn't we, Tony, at the last minute? So you were in the hot seat. And
I'm in the hot box.
In the hot box, yeah. And when you've got, I mean, I always want to cry, because when you connect to that higher energy, you feel it. As soon as we got to the Sasquatch, I was in tears, because that energy is just superb. It's the energy that we want to move to.
I had one a couple of weeks ago, and we got to the higher self kind of questions, and it just went, I don't know. Don't know.
Not the higher self.
Yeah.
Don't know.
I feel like for me, it's frequency. I think you can start to feel the frequency of the words that are coming in. So whether you're doing it in a session or whether you're just trying to connect with your higher guidance on your own through meditation, if the words are coming in or you're hearing things, it's how does that feel to you? Does it feel right? Or does it feel like it may be sort of, sprinkled with something that may not be of the highest vibration? I think it's like Tony said, if it's coming in with, well, I feel like it's your higher self, your higher guidance is very neutral. They're not going to come in and tell you what you have to do, but they're going to give you advice that's going to help you on your best and highest path. And they're not going to cuss at you or get frustrated or not know the answers. They may not know everything. I've often wondered this: does the higher self have access to everything, or are there levels of information that the higher self? Laura, what do you think about that?
Depends on the level of the person's higher self, because there's different levels and dimension of higher self. So some people have a higher self that's a lower dimension, obviously higher than us, but they have they'll be very chatty, more chatty probably than a much higher frequency one, and they potentially won't have access to all that is, but they might know a lot about the future path of your client. But then you get some people that's got a really higher self, and they will know a lot about all that is. But then if you try and ask them a question that some of your clients have got on their paperwork, like, what kind of cryptocurrency should I buy? And you try and ask that to someone's higher self that's right the way up the tree, then you're going to be stuck. So it's about pitching the questions to the right level. And sometimes if you have got a higher self that's really high up, then you can ask that higher self, is there a part of this one's multidimensional self that we have access to today that would be better able to answer these questions on behalf of the client? Because some higher selves are so high up, they can't even wrap their heads around what it is that we want to know, which is quite funny.
Yeah. But they still won't come in with negative answers or make you feel like you're asking the wrong questions. So it's just about learning to tap into the feeling that comes through when you're receiving that information. But I think we all go through, I don't know about you guys, but I know I've been sort of put through some tests where, I've been presented with people that I really thought, oh, this person is amazing. And then I'm like, oh, hang on a sec. Something's not quite vibing with the information. But I think those people are put into your life so that you can learn that discernment. So it's not always bad when you have to face that.
And you can, when you look back on those sessions, you can tell. There's one from my very early on career, and I always remember that session. This was before I got too heavily into entity release, and we got into the higher self section. I had taken a spirit off of them, but we got into the higher self section, and they must have had a demon attached as well. And when I was asking the questions, they just went, "Oh, for God's sake, he doesn't want to know any of this. It's all rubbish, and he's tired, so the session is over." And I was, fairly new. I remember thinking, flipping heck, I've never come across a higher self that was that rude before. And now when I look back on that, I was like, yeah, that was totally a demon. And I just didn't even know. But you learn these things along the way.
Yeah, you have
and
to.
That's why we have these talks, to raise awareness, isn't it? Amongst ourselves, amongst practitioners, amongst the general public.
Yeah.
So everybody is aware.
Yeah.
Triple J. Sorry, Tony.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I was just going to say the same thing you were. So it's
go.
But no, you go ahead. You haven't talked in a while, Kaz. Go.
I had a little wobble there for a second. So if there's difficulty connecting to the true higher self, do you keep trying or to continue with the session or end the session?
Find the entity. That's what we would do. Find the entity, take it off, then give the client a deepener to take them down, so that they're going to be really, really able to connect with the higher self. And then we would bring the higher self through. If connection with the higher self can't be made, it's normally because there's another sneaky entity there that's blocking.
So, and they like to hide, don't they, for as long as possible?
And
yes, they do.
I just actually had that in the higher self question, because we were asking questions and the questions started getting really, I don't even know how it went, but they just started. I'm like, this is off. This isn't. I go, who are we speaking to?
Yeah, you feel it.
And how? And yeah, and I go, how'd we miss you, or something? I forget what it was, but you caught it, and because of what they were saying, it didn't make any sense. So it just wasn't the higher self, and there was somebody playing. I got duped by a demon, or I don't even know if it was a demon now, but it was not the highest self. So, and it just comes.
I've been feeling like I'm hearing more and more people starting to talk about entities and attachments. And I don't know if it's just because I'm doing this work, so I'm paying attention now, or if more people are starting to recognize that we have these things on us. Do you guys feel the same, or?
I feel like it's trickling into the consciousness of the masses slowly. Yeah, I've been noticing it.
I think we just haven't realized it before, and it's just all of a sudden coming into our awareness about how this, and that goes, like Alice just asked a question about, do you think panic attacks are programmed AI? It could be either. I mean, it could be entity. It might not be your
earthbound spirit.
Might not be your panic at all. It might be something else. So it could be AI. It could be entity.
It could be something that triggers your earthbound spirit to start panicking. So if you've got an earthbound spirit attached, and you go somewhere that reminds them of the day they died, or you do something that reminds them of the day they died, they're going to start panicking, and then you will feel that. Yeah. Interesting stuff. But years ago, when I used to take entities off of people, I would have to explain what had occurred. Most people would say, "What did you do to me?" And I'd be like, "Hang on, girlfriend, I didn't do anything to you. You brought that with you." But nowadays, most people, you don't have to explain entity release to them, unless it's just that they find you through that and they know. But most people have got it in the bag. In fact, actually, most people have come to you for the entity release. They're happy to have the past life regression and the higher self stuff after, but it's all about the entity release.
I feel like that's become the most important part of the session now. And that's what I always say. We want to get you clean and cleared off, because that's what's going to really help you to shift your reality. It's going to get all of that stuff that's weighing you down and holding you back and causing all of that pain and discomfort that you can't pin it to anything else. So it's an important part of the session for sure.
Yeah, I've had quite a few recently where it's just, that's the whole session is entity release, and people are quite happy. They're not bothered about doing the parallel past life bit at all. They're just quite happy that they got all that off.
And some people, in fact, a lot of people have got so many things attached, it takes the entire session. And that's our most important thing as healers, is cleaning and clearing that individual's energy so that they do not be manipulated by these energies that don't have their best interests at heart. And, you know, they're feeling lethargic because they don't have any energy because these parasites are taking it. As healers, that's our absolute number one priority, to do that first. And then on session number 2, you can then go on and look at past lives or parallel lives or multidimensional self. But entity release is so important, really is.
And I wanted to talk about, you know, I know we've probably touched on this in other talks that we've done, but when a client is coming to us and they have entities or they have things that are attached to them, those entities can give them thoughts and make them feel very nervous about coming to us, because those entities are concerned. You know, some of them have been with the client since they were very young, and it's all that they know, or at least, you know, this part of their journey. And so they're very fearful, and they can make clients feel a little fearful to come. And it's not really their fear, it's the entity that's projecting that. And I know I have some clients, you know, that want to reschedule or they want to push back their session, and that is not their fear. Possibly it's the entities. Do you guys find that?
Yeah, always. And some people say, you won't believe, like when you do a face-to-face session, you won't believe how difficult it was to get here.
Yeah.
I almost died on the way here. I just stepped out into the middle of the road, and I don't know why, because I could see there was a car coming.
Oh, I shouldn't.
It's because the entity that's attached is going, no, please, we've got to stop them from getting there at all costs, or the technology won't work.
Yeah.
You know, on the courses, I'll get people that book on the courses, and they'll contact me the week before going, I really don't feel like I want to do it anymore. Is that normal? And I'm like, yeah, you've got entities. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
You know, you booked on the course because you were interested in it. This is a normal part of the procedure. When you come out the other side of the course, you're going to feel amazing, and we will clean and clear all of your energy. So come on, let's do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get that all the time. It comes hand in hand, doesn't it? Especially the ones that have got a lot of entities.
Yeah.
They really won't want to come and do the session for that reason.
Right. And the client can be nervous as well, but really it's, and I've heard you say it before, Laura, if they're already on you, they're already on you. So you might as well come and let us help you to get them off.
Exactly.
There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just, actually, I find the entity release really pretty interesting. It's interesting what we come across. It's interesting what they say. It's very rare, at least for me, to have a really dark, nasty one. I've only had a few of those. I've only had, I think, one that's ever cussed at me. And I actually think I smiled when it did, because I've heard, you know, others talk about getting cussed at by the entities. And
yeah,
I think it's to call me a stupid bitch. And I was excited. Like, I was like, finally. I just sort of giggled, you know, but anyway.
I had some funny one last week. They're called dinoids. Has anyone ever had a dinoid before? It was a sort of half dinosaur humanoid type thing. And there was a little group of them in this lady's kind of solar plexus. Nasty little buggers they were.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a new one for me. I've had lots of firsts the past few weeks. But I was just curious if you guys had any
some of the
dinoids.
nastiest ones in the solar plexus. Solar plexus are tricky.
I was trying to get them off, and they were stabbing her. She was in a lot of pain, this poor lady.
Yeah, that's the hardest part, is when they can feel it. I start to get a little, not anxious, but I just want to get them off when the client starts to feel it, but they cause a lot of trouble.
And if we ask Raphael to help at that point, Raphael will be able to hold that healing energy around that part in the body that the entity is causing pain. And I use that a lot. I'll say to Raphael, can you please regulate this pain that the client's feeling whilst we get this entity off? Please put healing light in there. And then the client will report, oh, that feels better now. But some of the things that the entities can cause in the body in terms of pain and discomfort, I mean, some of the things that we see with people writhing on the bed and, you know, crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that just shows you how much these beings have got power over the physicality and the emotional body of the client, and obviously the energetic body of the client as well. So
Yeah.
I have so many clients, and I wish I knew the answer to this. Why is this allowed? Like, how did we get here where these things were allowed to be a part of our reality?
Well, they weren't initially. So right the way back, they weren't. But around the times of Atlantis, around that particular time period, they were messing around with things that they shouldn't be, and they caused a rip in the dimensions, basically, and these parasites got in. And over the years, I've had many sessions with people that have actually detailed that period of time when these parasites got in and how traumatic it was. And, you know, particularly for the more angelic realms. And basically what had to happen was they had to shut down all of the portal systems straight away. Because then if you think of Earth as a cell, it's like a diseased cell.
Yeah.
It was a healthy cell before in the body of the universe, but these lower dimensional parasites get in, then it becomes an unhealthy cell. So the first thing that happens is they close all the portal systems to and from the planet. And I remember being on that council that made that decision in one of my sessions. I was there.
Wow.
I think we were inside of the Sphinx, and there was a multi-dimensional gateway where everybody, all the galactic beings that were on the councils from all over the universe, got together and said, what do we do? This has occurred. These guys have been messing around with something they shouldn't. If we keep the portal system open, these parasites have got the potentiality to move through the portals and infect the entire universe. So what do we do? And it was that decision was made at that time, close them. And it, honestly, I could still cry now thinking about it, because the level of sadness that was felt about having to make that decision, it was horrendous. And we knew that the only way that we could get through it was to close all of the portal systems, close Earth off, and a bit like a pearl, how a pearl is made in an oyster shell, create something beautiful out of that bit of grit that's managed to get in. You know how the oyster just creates the pearl around the grit. And so what we would have to do over thousands, millions, billions of years is vibrate our way up and out and away from these beings, just basically filter them out, just like the pearl and the oyster. And that's what we've been doing over time.
That's where we are, isn't it?
Over and over again. Yeah.
We're hopefully about to vibrate right away from them.
Yes.
So that's why they always say that Earth was put sort of in a quarantine off by itself, because that's what happened.
Yeah, because
is that when the dome went up? What's all that about, the dome? Did you put the dome up, Laura?
It definitely wasn't.
Stop them getting in.
Not that I recall, anyway. But yeah, that's why the quarantine is there, to stop these things from getting anywhere else. They are contained. We've got to come in, and in the way that we're doing right now, vibrate Earth up and away and out of these guys, so they are again left in the lower densities where they were before.
Do you think this will happen again? Do we ever have to do this again? Like I've always said, I know we're getting rid of the darkness, but is the darkness just going to throw their hands up and be like, okay, all right, you guys got us? Or are they just going to keep?
I just remember having a vision when I woke up spiritually. And it was being aware of having two parts, a light side and a dark side, two halves, if you like. And one half saying to the other half, come on, let's do it again. And the other half going, you have got to be kidding me. No chance. no chance. And the other one going, oh, come on, aren't you a bit bored? It's all right, isn't it? I mean, it's all amazing, but aren't you a bit bored? And the other one's going, no, I'm not bored. I'm fine, thanks. Don't you remember all of those things that we did? All of them worlds that we had to go on? All of them fights, all of them battles that we had over time and space? Do you remember how long it took us to do that? Yeah, but it was fun though, wasn't it? And just having this conversation over until eventually the other half agreed and went, okay, but this time I get to be the bad guy. And then boom, it all just burst out and it all started all over again. And I think that's what will happen. We'll take all of this experience back to these two halves of energy that are one. And then we'll spend a period of time resting in oneness. It's all amazing. We've all come back together again. Oh God, do you remember Earth? Yeah, God, that was a long slog, wasn't it? Yeah, but it was good. And then after a certain period of time, one of those halves is going to go, getting bored. And at that point, we're going to all have to turn around and go, no, shut up.
I'm the one that always gets blamed for that crap. So
we blame Tony.
Yeah.
I feel like listening to this, it may have been Laura that said, hey guys, come on, let's go do it again. And
I think it might have been Laura. I think it might have been.
We're not listening next time. We're going off with the Pegasus.
Yeah, just ignore me.
Unicorns.
I just want my memory back. Are we going to get our memories back of all these battles? I want that.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It's like unlocking a new level of a computer game, isn't it? When you go up a level, you get all new powers and all that sort of thing.
That would make it more worthwhile.
Yeah.
If we do all of that stuff now, it would be unbearable. We would not be able to stay here. It would be unbearable.
Just a little bit. Like, just remember some of the stuff we've done together. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tony.
Well, I just was, we're talking about releasing entities and stuff. And to me, I mean, I'm like on a rescue mission every time we're sending people to light, or not people, beings to light. And it's like a rescue mission. We're rescuing fallen brothers and sisters. And I want to address, there's a question here from Hester. I want to address that because she had asked what was most concerning to her. Are we directing the right to these beings to the right light, or are we keeping them in lower vibrations? And I'd like to address that because in 2 of my sessions now, I have, and again, it's like getting, when we're speaking with the higher self, we know it's the highest good because of how it felt. So I was directing a being. I don't know if it was an earthbound or if it was a darker entity where I was using the spark method or not, but I think it was an earthbound, where I had them look into the light and see the light. And then usually there's something good waiting for them in that light, something joyous, some celebration, mother, father, grandmother. And I'll have them give a message to the being that I'm helping to the light when I do that. And this message come across that it was, it wasn't very, well, that's my father. I don't want to go there. And I go, I don't think we have the right light. I'm thinking that in my mind. So I'm like, I'm going to have the angels help. We're going to find that light. So I actually redirected. And then in the other session, the light opened up like a tunnel. I'm like, ooh, that's not the right light either.
No,
I'm like, this, what kind of test are you giving me, guys? I mean, this is ridiculous. It just opened up like a tunnel. And there was nothing in it waiting. It was just a tunnel. And I'm like, ooh, that's not right. Look around for that light that pulls you towards it like a magnet. Do you see that light?
And that's a really important question that Hester says, because there's the false light, which is the tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the source light, which is what we all come from. We are a part of source light.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's probably why she's asking that question.
Yeah. And
because it's important, because the recycling process, the reincarnation process, we've been going to the wrong light, haven't we, all this time in this reincarnation process here? Whereas the white light of source is the original creator energy. So when we do our sessions, that's what we work with. We don't work with tunnels or false light or steps up to, heaven or anything like that. We always guide people to say, at that time that you came out of your body, you will have felt the pulling, like a magnet sensation, like thousands of tiny little fibers were attached to you, pulling you back to the place that you come from, which is home, the white light of source. And that's the distinction that we make in what we do. No tunnels, no false light. I mean, it's my awareness that the false light structure has been taken down now, but I don't know whether that's true or not. But I guess that's what Hester means when she asked that question.
Yeah. Well, and I always say that. I always say, you know, looking for the light that pulls you towards it like a magnet, the white light of source. And that other light came up where I always do this now. I always have them look into the light and see what, who's waiting, who's there waiting, and give them a message and make sure that that is right. And I just felt my intuition. It for some reason, that light, I don't know how that happened, but that light, and I checked it. I don't think that we can do wrong, because the angels are going to help take care of it and do what we need to do. But it was just a good clarification to make sure that was. The other thing too is I use that as a way for them to shift too, because if there's a celebration there waiting for them, to greet them home, or mom or dad or grandmother's there with a good message to greet them home, they're ready to go, and in short order. Let's go. I'm ready to go. I've been here for too long. So
that's one of my favorite parts too, is when they see somebody and it makes them emotional. Like they'll look into the light and they'll see somebody and they just start crying because they're so happy to see that person or whoever's waiting there for them. Nice little reunion.
Yeah, and that's that feeling. Yeah. Sorry, Laura.
It's just going to say it's an incredible process, isn't it, when we get to help souls in that way. I feel so privileged to do this work, that we can help souls that don't have a voice because they're literally attached to somebody else, to be able to transition. I think our job is pretty cool.
I think I told you this story about me a little while back. It was quite a while back, actually, maybe after the JCK interview. I'm not sure when it was, but I was driving down the road, and I saw quadruple 5. It was on a mailbox or something like that. And I'm like, okay, what's the message? And I look up, and there's a church sign that says 1 soul saved on the church sign. And I felt bad at first, and then I started laughing out loud. And I'm like, holy shit. I said, this past weekend, I had 2 sessions that I did for somebody, and I helped assist 20 souls to back home. I'm like, that's incredible.
Need a little number flipper on your website that shows how many souls you saved today.
Oh my God, then it would sound like church, and I won't want that. But that's, I mean, just
souls crossed over into the light.
If you think of all of that as like the different tapestries of a rug, each soul you help to cross and save is connected to many other souls that are in their soul group. And all of those souls have had to wait behind for that soul to be saved. So us doing this work allows all of those souls to move forwards, which allows all of those people to raise the vibration. So for every soul that is saved, I bet it's infinitesimal the amount of ripples that roll out across the universe because of that one soul. Incredible stuff. And when you've got somebody where they've got multiple earthbound spirits, so thousands attached, and many people will. I've come across a fair few of those that have got thousands of souls attached. And actually, it was their contract to come in at this time and save as many as possible, because it's the time of the great shift. And we're cleaning everybody up. We're dividing everybody into the lanes that they belong in. Yeah. So their particular contract was, go into that reality, collect as many as you can, find one of these people, and then help cross them over. And when you're crossing over thousands of people, just imagine just imagine how many ripples that creates across the universe. And when you find earthbound spirits that have been roaming here for years, like when you get a Roman soldier,
yes,
that's just he's never found his way off the battlefield because he's just constantly looking. That feels amazing. That feels so good.
I just World War One. I had a captain and his whole company of men attached, and I had to make sure I talked to the captain to make sure all his men were on board and was going to follow him and do what that we needed to do to move to the alchemize to the light. And it was incredible. We all joined hands and we walked on home. It was just so funny.
That's beautiful. Amazing stuff.
Yep.
Are there any more questions in the chat, Tony? I can't quite read.
There's one. Let's see. I'm not sure if it's a question. Did 1994 to 1996 Dracos attacked Earth and the hardest Kenya to stop ascension? I'm not sure what that means. And Arcturians saved us, but rewind time 2 years back and wiped this 2 years from human collective memory. Mandela effect. Anybody heard about that?
No.
I don't know about that in particular, but I have listened to another practitioner session a while ago that was so fascinating. In it, the information came through that I want to say around 1996, and hang on, this might be what he's talking about. 1996, I think there was some sort of alien attack on this planet, and it was so bad that it lasted for a couple of years. It was so bad that our minds were wiped of the experience. And this person had brought some of that information back, could remember what was happening. So I don't know if that's the same, but I've heard something like that, and it was fascinating, the information that came through. There was something that was used to cover it up, and I can't remember if it was a massive plane crash, but something that you could research to connect back to this time. So of course I'm researching it, but couldn't really find much of anything about it. But have y'all heard of anything like that happening, where our minds get wiped?
It wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me, no, but I'm going to have to look into that date.
Yeah.
There's also lots of stuff about mud floods as well, isn't there?
Mm.
You know, everybody talks about these mud floods that just appeared from nowhere and just wiped everything out.
I think that's more like meant to be like a frequency, isn't it, that hits the earth and liquidizes the actual ground.
Wow.
Rather than I don't know, I guess there's different theories.
Right.
But that makes more sense to me than a load of mud coming from somewhere. If the ground just literally liquefied and things sunk.
I had a client just a few days ago that I asked, I forget how I asked it, but I asked, when the last time that we were in this, state, this frequency where we were, living in community and living in bliss and all the stuff we're looking for. And she said it was just 300 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. Before they reset again. So I don't, you take everything and for a grain of salt and try to take all the information,
it does feel like we're stuck in a loop though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's the same with music and fashion, and it just goes round in a loop. It's like, where's the original ideas?
I just want to find the little, when you used to play Super Mario Brothers, the game where you used to bend down underneath a tube and you go
find the secret bit.
I just want to find the secret portal out of this place.
Yeah, me too.
Because I feel like I've been playing the same level of the computer game for eons.
Forever.
And I'm just really, really bored.
Yeah.
I just don't want to play this computer game anymore. I want to go up to the next level.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of us that feel like that. Yeah, I feel like I'm just going round and round and round in circles.
Yeah.
Over it.
My soul is desperate for what it knows is available.
Yeah.
My soul knows what's available, and it's not here in this reality. But hopefully it will be.
And you had another incredible vision, Laura. I can't remember. Was it about the Pleiades or about Aurora, or there's something that you have said before that you're really, you can remember almost as like you were there. Oh, what was that?
Yeah.
It was so good.
I've got a real deep feeling within me, which will never go away. And I've had it since I was a child. And it's being in a pool of water on a planet that is undescribable. It's just undescribable. And looking out at the stars and the vistas, and just, it's absolute beauty. But my soul came from a future reality. So if we're going round in a figure 8 loop constantly, time just flows constantly like that. If we're doing that, my soul remembers that point in the loop, which is my starting point, if you like. And I was the daughter of 2 beings who were killed on a planet, Alcyone, a star, that the beings should not have been able to access that frequency. But the universe had gone so downhill because of this systemic parasites that had spread throughout the whole universe. That's why we chose to quarantine Earth in this time loop, because we cannot let what happened last time occur again. So we had last time, we'd done the whole, oh, you know, we're the light, we're going to be the light, let them live their life, we'll live our life. And then as we're doing all of that, these parasites and Draco and reptilians gone around the whole universe, just killed everything, raped, pillaged, ruined everything. So the majority of the frequency of the universe was so low that ultimately, eventually, Alcyone could be accessed by these beings. So my originating start point that I remember is, we've got to go back and fix it. So we went back to Earth before all of this occurred. And my mission is to ensure that that doesn't happen again. But in doing that, I now know that I've changed my future spot throughout the time loop, because I will no longer be the girl who sees her parents die. I'll probably be one of the parents. And as we go round and round and round throughout the fluidity of all of this, little things change. But hopefully on this time loop, when we get to that spot in Alcyone, from what we've done over here, it should mean that everything is perfect, that we've eradicated the darkness to a point where it's containable. Can't ever completely eradicate it, but to the point where it's containable and not systemic and out of balance. And that's what had happened before. It was completely out of balance. And we allowed it to occur, really. But we learned a lot from that.
Right.
So this time round, that's why we're all here on planet Earth. That's why Earth is the place to be, because the light is not going to chance this place coming out of balance again, because it creates a ripple across the universe which can't be stopped.
That's
so
incredible.
It's pretty important.
It is.
It's really incredible. And I know, we all say, oh, just get us out of here. I mean, I think once you start to know what else is out there and who you really are, you just don't want to do this anymore. But you always hear the guide saying, you guys have a front row seat to watch this experience unfold, and you have no idea how many other beings would, I don't want to say kill because that's terrible, but would want to be in your spot right now. Yep. So as much as you can just enjoy this process unfolding, and just know that those amazing things are to come. We've just got to step through this muck a little bit more to get there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And only good things are coming, because we've put in the work. At the end of the day, don't forget, there are millions of us all over the earth now that are absolute beacons for the light. We're antennas for the frequency. We're plugged in as little antennas all over the geographical, surface of the earth. And we are ready to accept that light and be connectors for the light that's already inside of the planet as well. That's why we came. The light is here this time around.
And I think it's really important people remember this, because it's so easy to be distracted and swept up in the fear, isn't it? Oh my gosh, there's so much noise. I can't even handle it. But there's a little path down the middle that I'm trying to walk on, and it's just Zen. It's just my own little Zen path through it all, because there's noise over here and there's distractions over here. And I just want people to remember that there's nothing to be fearful of.
And we've just got to find as much opportunity as possible to connect in this way, to create those amazing communities, to work together, to create a world that we want to live in. That we want to live in. Not that they tell us we're going to live in, that we want to live in. And eventually we'll be so far over the way this way, they'll be so far over the way that way, that we just split. The fabric of reality splits into different frequencies of resonance. And that's where all the fairies and the dragons and the unicorns and whatnot are now on Earth. They're in a different frequency band of resonance. And they feel sorry for us because they think that we're beings that lack joy and are obsessed with destroying our own environment. One of the things that I saw in a session was a council of those kinds of beings, the fae, the frogs, the squirrels, all of the woodland creatures, talking about, is this really happening? Are the humans really going to be coming up to our frequency band? And if so, how's that going to work? and like a group of fairies saying, it's okay, these humans will not be able to join our frequency unless they would not harm us in any way. They can't access this frequency unless they vibrate with us. But I guess it's just incredible times, isn't it? And there's a program that I'm thinking of now and I can't remember the name of it, but it was some talks about the conjunction of the realms in it, the moment in time where humans, elves, fairies, is it the Wheel of Time? Might be the Wheel of Time.
That's a show on Amazon. I watched the first season. It was really good.
It is, and it's books as well. There's like a gazillion books.
Okay, yeah.
And that talks about the moment in time when all of these realms came together because they all vibrated together. And that's essentially what's happening now. So they're putting it out there. It's all out there. They're just not telling us that it's happening now. But we know anyway, because we came in with all of that information inside and we've accessed it.
11 sessions when the fairies come in, or I had one yesterday and she was a not a gnome, but what's the other one?
Pixie?
Not a pixie. It's also one of the, like,
a brownie.
No, I can't think of it. But I think no, that's not it either. She was struggling a little bit because, when you see yourself as one of these types of beings, I remember she looked down at her feet and she was like, well, they're furry, or they're covered in hair. We think that these things can't possibly exist, but Hobbit. That's it. That's it.
I win the prize.
Because the homes were built into the hills. So, of course, I'm seeing what's the movie, the big movies, Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Yeah. So I think that's so fascinating.
It's all real. Yeah. Those guys can't create anything. They just show us what is real and out there.
Yeah.
All of these sci-fi movies, it's all real.
Yeah.
They're talking about actual galactic wars that have occurred. And they're showing it to us whilst we're sat there eating popcorn. That was good, wasn't it? Yeah, that was really good. Oh, I loved that Avatar. Did you see it? Yeah, it was ever so good. And it's all real.
All real. Do you think people just channel this information in? Are they remembering? Like, how do we bring these movies? How do we bring these in? Or is it like the guides are sending this information so that they can bring it through as disclosure?
Go, Tony.
I feel like it's remembering. I mean, this is not the Great Awakening. It's the Great Remembering.
Yeah.
I think our imagination is memories of what we've witnessed or seen in the past. And I mean, that's how I feel about it. It's just a lot of remembering. I guess you could call it be channeling or messages coming in, but I think we're just remembering what we seen.
I think there's so many theories. There's a theory that George Lucas was a walk-in, isn't there? Like
Yeah, I've heard that one.
He used to do something completely else, and then one day it's like, oh, I'm going to make a bunch of Star Wars movies.
To bring it in.
I do think there is an agenda, though, with the dark ones that control the planet. They have to show us what is occurring in order to get away with it. And some of the stuff that they're putting out now is, I mean, really, like Jupiter ascending and stuff like that.
I love that movie. I've watched it a few times.
There's so much stuff now that is they are literally showing us what's happening. And yet you still can't convince people because it's just a movie. She thinks movies are real, this one. And you just can't explain it, can you? If people don't believe, they don't believe. And the crazy thing is these people that are obsessed with sci-fi movies, they are obsessed with sci-fi movies. And you say to them, you know, it's all real, don't you? Shut up, it's only sci-fi. But they would love that. They'd love to live in a reality where it was all real. But they won't expand their mind.
Yeah. I wonder that. Because I find all of this stuff so fascinating. I mean, isn't it cool to think of the possibility of it being real? Why don't people just allow themselves? You don't have to believe it, but just put it as a possibility. It's possible. And just stay in that frame of mind, because it might start to expand you in a way that this stuff will start coming to you, and you'll get it on your own instead of shutting it down and being like, no, that's not possible.
Yeah.
I guess it's just fear or something. I don't know.
I actually know somebody who loves sci-fi, and I tried so hard to wake them up before I realized you're not supposed to do that. It was a good friend of mine, and he's actually manifested a black spot at the top of his spine that's really serious. You know, it could actually kill him. And that to me shows that he has absolutely disconnected his spine from connecting up to source. He just flat refuses to consider any of this stuff being true. And that's where the physical body comes in. The universe is alive. We are a part of the universe. We aren't separate. We're connected to all that is. So if you don't connect into that, then your physical body will start to show you signs of where it is that you're going wrong. You know, people that have the problems with the feet and the legs and the hips. Hips are normally people aren't walking, they're not facing their path. They're trying to, you know, veer off the path. They won't align themselves. Problems with the legs and feet are always that people not walking down their path.
Yeah.
The physical body always shows us what we need to know. As soon as people understand that, oh my goodness, that in and of itself will revolutionize the healing industry, because people will be like, oh my God, what's my body telling me? Right, let's work it out. Let's work it out. I've got an ache here. I've got a pain there. Okay, that means this. That means this. Oh, brilliant. I can heal myself now.
Yeah.
I'd much rather do that than go to any doctor. That's for sure.
Yeah. And just get slapped on some medication that is just going to stop all of your neural pathways from working, and you won't be able to release any of the emotion that's caused the physical ailment in the first place.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Let's see. Do we have any other questions, Tony?
Yeah, Tam had, if there was any visions of Tartaria, I actually have a session on my YouTube that we went back to an 1800s World Fair where we got to see some of the exhibits for the energy and stuff like that. And the booth we went into in the World's Fair there was a healing booth. It was a sound therapy booth where it had a conch shell and use sound for healing, and you go, it's like a sound bath, and you'd go in and sit for a while. But I think he had made mention of the fact that it was all hidden from us, so we couldn't see it, but they were displaying it at the World's Fair, the fair he was at. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, isn't it? And you look at all the old buildings even we have in Cambridge, it's like, don't tell me that was a church. Come on. Amazing. And they've still got the original like organs in it and stuff, but they obviously don't use them anymore. It's just, I want to know the truth about all of those
place
buildings.
has just started coming into my reality, and I had never heard of it, but I've once I heard it, I started hearing multiple people talking about it. So is this just a place in time, sort of like we think of Atlantis and Lemuria? It was Tartaria. Is that the way you say it?
It's all across the world. Yeah, like a
Okay.
massive big kingdom. Yeah.
So we think it's still well, of course, it's still in existence, just in a different dimension, a different realm.
I think
Ooh.
I think like Tartaria was kind of, it was Atlantis and Lemuria. It was just the whole right? Isn't that right? It was all Tartarian before the fall.
You've got a practitioner, Soul Center Healing Hypnosis practitioner Mike B, who tracked down an ancient map in a charity shop of
Nice.
Tartaria.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's like a place.
It was all over the realm,
All
Heather. It
over,
wasn't just
okay.
one place. Yeah, you could find all
Not like
different maps that-
Australia or the United States. It was
all over.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to do some research.
And did he just stumble across this map then? That's amazing.
Yeah, I think it was in Camden in London.
Oh, I'm going to take my boys to Camden in a couple of weeks. I'm going to have a look.
But he's also obsessed with Tartaria as well, and everywhere he goes, he'll take photos of the buildings, and you know, some of the buildings he's found are just incredible. I think the whole idea behind Tartaria is that this was a more recent, highly evolved kingdom than we have been told, and they're trying to palm it off that, oh, you know, these just ancient.
That's a museum and whatever, yeah.
And the inference is that they knew how to work energy in such a way that they would channel energy through the buildings and
the ether,
connect to energy, in that way. And that a lot of the historical time periods that we've been told about are actually to cover over the fact that this Tartaria kingdom was in place. So again, I think the idea is that we've just been lied to again.
I mean, you look at some of like Nelson's column in London or something, you just think they put that up with a horse and cart and a pulley. Okay, but people believe that. It's the same with the whole movies thing, isn't it? They just believe what they're told.
Believe anything without thinking.
Like all the, you know, even all the steeples and the dome structures of all our government buildings are all the same. And, you know, those, the hardwire to get free energy out of those and communication from that's just not there anymore. They ripped it out. So.
And all the old arcs, you know, the Arc de Triomphe. It's amazing.
Or maybe what we're seeing is just a skeleton, and once we pop through to a higher frequency and vibration, it'll be there again, and we'll see it. It's all there. So who knows how that'll work?
Mind blowing.
I'm open to anything, but I just want everybody to connect into that love energy, that heart space energy. Ignore all the bad stuff and the negative Nellies. That they can march down their chosen timeline, but let's bring about an amazing new world, and let's have fun for the first time in God knows how many years. Because that's something that weighs heavy on me, is some of the lifetimes I've had on Earth. Oh my God, they've been heavy. I've been murdered so many times.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to leave that behind. And they say that when you move into that fifth dimensional vibration, you forget about that. You forget about all of those memories, you know, of when you were killed and horrible things that happened. And actually, that's the thing, that sometimes when angelic or higher dimensional beings are asked to go back and help, they go, oh no, I don't want to feel that again. I've not felt it for so long. Please don't make me go back again into that, you know, into that density. But then being an angelic being, of course, you're always going to ultimately agree, because you know that these guys need help. And that's how we end up where we are now.
So yeah, just do whatever brings you joy. That's what I always say to people.
Yeah.
Whether it's cooking, hanging out with your kids, you know, hanging in the park.
More fun.
More joy. Yeah.
Yeah, and stay focused on what you want to create. Try to stay away from what is. It's so hard to, not look at what's going on in the world, but there's, what comes through in the sessions I hear a lot is there's just this bigger plan that's already in place, and it's right where it needs to be right now. So just focus on the world that you want to create instead of what we're sort of swimming through right now. Yeah. So we're about an hour and a half. You guys have anything else that you want to add today before we wrap this up?
I don't think so. No, it was lovely seeing you all again.
Absolutely.
I just can't believe that flew by that fast. That's crazy.
I think we covered a lot.
We must have talked about some good stuff because I was eliminating a lot of sex bots in the chat.
There were quite a few today. I was doing. Thank you, Tony.
It was when I don't know what we were talking about it, but it was just at a certain moment it would just go bam, and then I sitting there getting rid of them all. But
that's the first time that's happened. So
yeah, we must have been hitting some hot buttons somewhere. So that's funny. That's funny.
Well, thank you everybody in the chat who joined us today, and to those who'll be listening later. We're so grateful that you joined us, and we'll talk to you next time.
Create the reality we want to see.
Bye, guys. Have a wonderful
Love you
day.
all.
Love you.
Thank you, Heather.
Bye.
Bye. I'm never sure if we're done.
I think we're good. Right?